Somindu, welcome to the AUSCERT podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, yeah.
I'm so pleased to have you. I think you are officially the youngest guest we've ever had on the AUSCERT podcast.
Oh.
And I'm sure you are sick of hearing that. That's probably what you hear a lot from when people are talking to you. But I think it's really impressive that you're so out there, that you're willing to have the chat with us and putting yourself out there as presenter at different AUSCERT, you've been at the AUSCERT conference and other conferences. What first got you interested in cybersecurity?
Well, actually, if we're tracing it back to its roots, honestly, I was 6 years old when I did. So I had discovered a little lockpick set in my dad's cupboard and a little tiny acrylic lock, right?
And your dad's in cybersecurity, just to make that clear.
Yeah.
He's not a criminal picking locks.
At that point in time, he was working for, I think, Deloitte, right? And when I saw it, I went up to him and said, what the hell is this, right? Like, what is this strange contraptions, you know?
Yeah.
So then he taught me how to lockpick. I didn't understand any of it. And he left me alone and I used the key to open it, and then I went to him, oh my god, I unlocked the lock with the lockpick. Oh yeah. Oh, I was a big cheater back then. Whew.
Yeah.
I forgot about it until I was about 13. My dad was planning on going big-size Melbourne in 2023, I believe. And that's the first year I went there because I saw a lockpicking competition there. And I was like,
right.
oh my god, I know how to do that.
Yeah, I
Except
like doing
don't.
that, yeah.
So then I went, and that's when I won first place. The first lockpicking competition I ever went to, and the first conference I ever went to. Immediately got first place on the conference, and then after that, I kept going to conferences for the lockpicking competitions mostly.
Yeah, that's what drew you in.
Yeah. Then from there, I realized that I really like talks, and I really wanted to talk, right? So then I started talking. My first one was B-Sides Melbourne 2024, right a year after I first started. And in that talk, I kind of talked about cybersecurity being bridged to physical because I had a big interest. And cybersecurity, I wasn't that strong in there. So after that talk, I realized, like, if I'm going to talk in cyber conferences, I probably need some cyber knowledge,
skills,
you know?
Yeah.
So I put down lockpicking for a while and focused on cyber, right? I was close to getting a few Kali certifications, but we ran into some weird technical problems on the testings. But then I started Pentester Lab. Pentester Lab and Burp Suite Academy are probably the biggest ones that I did.
Yep.
I've done a load of Pentester Lab certifications. I've done Unix, Essentials, PCAP, HTTP, Recon. I can't list them all.
Wow.
And then from there, and I'm still doing that, I started expanding that cyber knowledge, started doing more talks. That also got me to instigate my own thought processes when writing the speeches itself on what I need to learn.
Yeah.
And from there, just up to now.
And now you're only 15.
Yeah.
That's more than a lot of people have done in their entire lifetimes at this point. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
So I think, look, most teenagers, and I've got teenage girls, they spend their weekends like gaming or scrolling or filming odd TikTok videos. But yeah, this habit of, lockpicking and CTFs and doing these things, what was it like walking into some of those environments for the first time?
Honestly, my first conference, I was so scared. I didn't have the slightest ounce of confidence or social skills in me. I was so nervous. I was like right behind my dad all the time, just like holding onto his arm, like, who are these?
I just want to do the lockpicking.
Yeah, exactly. And then after like 30 minutes of walking around with him, he finally walked me to my table, or the lockpicking table, and the nicest guy that I've met in security conferences, called Ryan, he was bald, and he had a great orange beard, right? He introduced me to lockpicking, introduced the basics of it. Yeah. Within seconds with him, I started talking. He clicked with me so easily, right? And I beat him my first lock by then. Then we moved into the big room where all the lockpicks were, and then we started picking away. I was talking with him the whole time. He's the best guy ever. But walking into that environment in the first place was really nerve-wracking, right?
Confronting.
But as soon as you get into like even one person that you click with, even if you're not with the person, when you go into another person that you talk to, right, it suddenly becomes easier because you've experienced that demographic per se, like of someone that's in a security conference. Like once you experience one person that's in a security conference and that you have had fun with, right, then suddenly like it becomes so easy to talk with everyone, because you had that experience of talking to just one person.
I love that you were embraced so easily, and I think that's what I found. Obviously I was much older than you when I was, in cyber conferences, but I've always found that people are always willing to share, learn, introduce you to other people. And have you ever found that anyone's underestimated you? I was like, oh, here comes this kid.
No. On the first conference I ever did, there were a bunch. I got a lot of weird comments going on. It was mostly really supportive, right? But there was a small few that were like, who is this kid? Why is he here? Because like they were somewhere on the leaderboard, in the mid leaderboard, right?
Yeah.
Like they were
Yeah,
50 points something, yeah? I was at 30 points at the time, and it was like really like close to the start of the competition, right? So I was speaking the looks, and they were like, who is this kid? Like I heard their conversations because I had my headphones in, so it was plausible that they thought that I couldn't hear, right?
Yeah.
Who is this kid, bro? They're doing nothing with their lives at a security conference. It was funny. But I later won that conference and that lockpicking competition, and they supported me after.
Yeah.
But ever since that first conference, I've never actually seen someone underestimating me because of my age.
That's great.
It's like a really supportive environment that I found cyber to be.
Oh, that's really wonderful. So, we were talking before that you've presented at multiple conferences, and you presented at the AUSCERT conference, which is really exciting. And your topic was cognitive warfare and how defenders can fail to update their mental models. Can you tell us a bit more about what you presented?
Okay, so my main point there was that the actual attack surface is certainty, like your confidence in decisions. A lot of it revolves around how that confidence is built through either categorization of social in-groups and out-groups, like as groups that you're in and groups that you're not in. And then it also went around to confirmation bias type things where motivated reasoning play in there. And mostly what I talked about was that idea that the higher more confidence you have in a decision, the more it takes for you to change that decision, right? So if you were having a high risk assessment, right? This is a high risk vulnerability, okay? Then if someone comes to you and says, this doesn't even matter, it's not connected to anything, you're not going to take that into account seriously, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the basis of what the talk is about, and then it extends into more of psychological research papers that describe it more, and I go into detail about those specific ones here.
So you talked about how younger people often adapt faster.
Yeah.
Because they don't have this, the same bias. Do you think teenagers are naturally better at finding these loopholes because they haven't been told, you're not supposed to do that, this is how it's done?
Oh, partially, yes. I would say a lot. Definitely. But also, on the other hand, I would like to say it's exactly because they've been told this is not how you do it. As a teenager, as a child growing up, I personally experienced you really want to go against exactly what you're told, right?
Yeah.
So, with that...
You want to rebel a bit.
Exactly, yeah. So, when you're told that's not how you do it, you suddenly have this really big drive to do it exactly the way you weren't told
prove
to.
It, yeah.
Exactly. And because you're so young and you're not complying to that order, you start to find the things that other people don't because the other people are complying with it, right? That's what my partial focus, I really love about being a child and young,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that. So I think, that flexibility, that curiosity, and a little bit of rebellion, I think there's a little bit of, that's an advantage in cybersecurity, thinking quite differently. Do you think growing up being surrounded by technology changes the way that younger generations approach those things rather than people that have learnt technology later on?
Being surrounded by technology definitely helps with the proficiency in technology.
I mean, it's just the way of life to you.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
This is just what it is.
I can't not survive, live properly without technology, But I think learning technology later on is going to be a lot harder, right?
Yeah.
Growing up with something, you're already surrounded by it. You won't be finding difficulty in using it. And therefore, the concepts that require you to have it are much easier to learn for you. Opposed to someone who's finished developing their frontal cortex, right?
Yep.
It's a lot harder to learn new skills, and it's a lot slower, and you have to take it more gradually, As a child, and when you're growing up, especially in the infant newborn stage, your knowledge spikes a lot because you're learning language, you're learning actions, you're learning how to walk, all of that stuff, right? If you learn how to use technology whilst you're in that phase, you never need to relearn technology, because even if you never use technology again for the next 5 years, you'll know how to use it, you know what I mean? Yeah, I would say that having an environment that surrounded me with technology definitely did help me with where I am now.
Yeah. And I think, that curiosity and that lockpicking also was in a similar kind of vein, it's like learning, experimenting. What has lockpicking taught you about security overall? Do you know, when I think about the, looking for the weaknesses and the process?
Lockpicking really taught me one main thing, and it's the thing I talked about in my first few talks. I called it the hacker mindset, right?
Yeah.
Really cringy name, but at the time I was thinking it was so tough, yeah? So
it's a bit of a flex.
So basically what this hacker mindset revolved around is having that mindset of staying in one place and not budging against your adversary or what you're facing against.
Yeah.
Like taking into account every single small thing you see, whether it's just nothing, and if it's been proved again and again and again it's nothing, still looking at that something that supposedly is nothing and seeing if it is something,
Yeah.
And then seeing every gradual little bit, like in the lock.
Yeah, it's incremental.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like in the lock, when you're going in and pushing them up, it's not going to be like something like instantly poof opens, right? You have to find which order it binds in, and then with the order, you have to go like, is this really the one? Is this in a false set? Is it setting? Is it toning? Yeah, all of those cues that point towards different states, you have to see all of them, and then with that knowledge that you have gained from finding out the state it's in, then you have to manipulate the lock based on it.
Yeah.
And it really similarly in security, when you find through package interception of requests or anything, you look at that, then you figure out what's happening here, and then you figure out either how to exploit it or how it's been exploited and how you can defend from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's a lot of feel, a lot of instinct.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Has to, yeah. So you've already achieved quite a bit. We were talking about the different conferences you've been at. What's the coolest, I can't believe I'm here moment that you've had?
I think it was BSides Adelaide, right? Because BSides Adelaide, even though it's a lot smaller than AUSCERT, it was my first conference where I got to experience something where I'm in a big room with quite a lot of people. Like, BSides Melbourne, I was in a room maybe the size of, the arcade room?
Yeah.
That big. Just that big. People were in there. But it wasn't anything ginormous, right? It wasn't a stage. Then Kids Security Day, it was just loads of kids, like my age people.
Yeah.
But then when I went to BSides Adelaide, it was a hall like the one I presented at AUSCERT today. Yeah. It was packed with people and
it's a bit more serious.
Exactly, like all the school ones, it's all people your age having fun. You barely prepare for it. But they're you're faced with an audience that I'm not familiar with at all, right? People so much older than me, triple, double, quadruple my age, right? And they're here to listen to my insights,
Yeah.
And that really triggered in me as I've done so much here, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Gosh, it was a really fulfilling kind of moment to me at BSides Adelaide. And then when you step into AUSCERT as well, I realized oh my god, there's people that actually want to learn from me, you know? People so much older than me, multiple folds, there to learn from me, you know what I mean?
In the lead up to AUSCERT conference, I had a lot of people saying, "Oh, I've seen the program. I'm really intrigued by this presentation." So I knew we were going to get quite a good audience. So your passions are, lockpicking and cybersecurity. Here you're also into psychology and astrophysics.
Oh, I can see what this is.
Sounds a bit like an origin story of either a brilliant researcher or maybe a movie supervillain.
Well, I'm definitely heading
Which direction are we heading?
Definitely the supervillain, I plan to take over the world completely revolution. Yeah, but
Elon Musk, look out.
ooh, we have to sound about that one. Yeah, but I do plan on dropping cyber a lot more as I go on with my aspirations. Cyber is mainly for me how I'm gonna progress in the start of my life, whilst I get up to my aspirations of astrophysics and psychology. Psychology, I also don't plan on traveling with too far into it. I do. What basically happened is I start off with physical security, then I transition that into cybersecurity, and I have that physical security still, but the cybersecurity kind of dominates now.
Yeah.
Then with the psych as the start of high school, that kind of also was brought in and is now being maximized a lot more alongside cyber.
Yeah.
But what I plan is it'll come to a peak where I completely peak with my cyber knowledge, my psychology knowledge, and my physical security knowledge for myself, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm probably going to go into my own aspirations of astrophysics, or any actual particle physics or astrophysics, right? And then from there, I'll probably carry on with cyber, going to conferences and talking about it.
I think there's a lot of parallels
exactly,
that merge
like,
into each other. Yeah.
I've seen at CrestCon, there was this one really good talk about quantum physics and its relation to security and how you can use quantum computers as a really good way of like cracking passwords of, a lot of things.
Yeah.
So then I was thinking from there, I can use my knowledge in astrophysics and psychology and particle physics as I go on to talk in conferences of any subject about cyber or about astrophysics or whatever physics I do. And, like carry on with that knowledge, like keep it alive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they all naturally feed into each other. That's fascinating. Our podcast is called Share Today, Save Tomorrow. As someone, entering cyber and part of the community, how important do you think knowledge sharing has been in helping you learn and grow?
Definitely one of the most important things, honestly. I think most of the knowledge I've gained has come from papers far back in the day, right? So the main one on Friston's free energy, decades ago, right?
Yeah.
Then motivated reasoning, just for today, or a bit time ago. All the papers that I researched on were made way back on decades, right?
Yeah.
And I can imagine those could have been so much built on, right? And they have been. Those were the foundational works of psychology.
Yeah.
And then in cyber, the people who guided me, in Pentester Lab, in Carly, Louis, and Damien, my dad especially as well, connecting me with all these people that shared their knowledge with me and helped me gain resources to build up my knowledge. It played the biggest role I've ever had. If I didn't have those resources that people have shared with me willingly, there's no way I would be here right now.
Yeah, you wouldn't have progressed.
Yeah.
Okay, if schools were going to start letting students start to design cybersecurity, education in classes that was actually engaging and interesting, what do you think it would look like?
I think it would look something along the lines where you get hands-on access to a VM, a virtual machine inside your own computer, and there's a shared server kind of thing where you guys run a mock and you have simulations of red and blue teaming, right?
Yep.
And then every class that you have, there's a different type of simulation. Instead of just having only red and blue teaming, you have other types of things, you can do network interceptions, something the Pentester labs?
Yep.
If you had those labs, but you had them on a much larger scale for many more students on one server type thing, I would want that to be something as a class instead of some boring lectures. Because we have that at school as well.
You want it hands-on.
Next week, I have my cybersecurity week for my school, right?
Oh, that's timing.
Yeah, kind of. And a lot of people are talking about it, and it's just lectures.
Yeah.
It's a load of guest speakers coming and just talking to us.
Being spoken.
Yeah. Literally nothing else. It's they come and they talk for half an hour every day for the next week. And the other hour is us doing worksheets on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I can
not
see you're
ideal,
really
yeah.
excited about it.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. I mean, yeah, it's the best thing ever.
If you could challenge a well-known cybersecurity expert in either lockpicking or, you know, some sort of CTF showdown, is there someone that you would choose to go up against?
I would choose. There's a guy named Lockie, right? He's a big lockpicker. There's no way in hell I would beat him. But the thing is, I've learned. No, I have no way of beating him. He can pick locks that I couldn't even beat in my dreams, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, he has so much that I can learn from, and that's so much that I have learned from him. There was one lock back in, besides Canberra, I think. Oh no, ASA, I think. Yeah, ASA. In ASA, he taught me the ways of picking a lock that has more than one pinning system, right?
Yeah.
So in the lock, there's usually just one thing where you put the key in and it'll turn, right? But on something called bilocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's where there's two of those. So the key has two parts. You have to have both of them activated at the same time to turn.
Yeah.
I can't do those. But there's a special variation of it where inside of the keyhole, there's another key space there, which you also have to activate there.
Yeah.
That's the one that I picked only because he taught me how to pick multi-pinning lock, right?
Yeah.
If I could have a competition against him, the amount I would learn from him is probably the most valuable thing I'd take from the competition, yeah.
So you don't think you beat him, but you want to learn from him more.
Yeah, exactly. Steal his ways, you know?
All right, I have to ask you, I mean, you're my first guest under 16. We've got the social media laws that have stopped under 16s having access. What's your viewpoint there?
I think...
Is it a good thing?
I mean, I don't personally like it because it stopped me, but it hasn't really worked, has it?
No, I didn't think it would either.
Yeah, I think the government also acknowledged that it wouldn't work, but as I talked about in my speech, it's not really about that it didn't work, it's about how it didn't work that we can learn from. But basically, on my viewpoints about the ban, yeah, it did nothing, honestly. If people still use it in my school.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think most people have got workarounds, right?
Yeah, exactly. And either way, even if you can't do that, VPNs, you know, VPNs, and also, there's also plenty of mainstream platforms that you can use. Yeah, that's pretty much my main.
Thank you so much for joining me on the AUSCERT podcast. I really enjoyed our chat. I'm a bit inspired. I feel like I haven't done enough with my life. I'm much older than you, and I haven't accomplished half the things that you have already.
Thank you.
I've really appreciated our chat.
I appreciate it too. Thank you.